So I've happened upon something that is a mystery. There are some garbage bags here. Unfortunate. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, is that miner's lettuce growing out of them to this size? And I'm pretty sure that's miner's lettuce. Well, the bags do not have garbage in them. They have compost in them. And I think what's happened is the miner's lettuce just went, yeah, thank you, party time. And we have this incredible crop of miner's lettuce in a very precarious place on the side of a cliff, thanks to the fact that somebody was throwing away their bags of compost, I think. I can't imagine somebody would do this on purpose to grow. This is just too precarious. On the other hand, this is Oregon. So this is our rhizome. Here's the process, real simple. We just want to do a little split. So this outside part we don't want, okay, the dirty part. We want this stuff, white stuff right there, all right? That's the inside of the rhizome. It is said that this is upwards of 80% starch. So we need to get the starch out of those fibers. You're cooking today. We don't have all that much time. So I want to make this available to you within minutes here, okay? And this is how I will do it. Real simple. There we go. And how far do you scrape? Well, get down till you're down to the fibers. Yeah, go ahead, have a feel of that. Smush it around and then check your fingers out.
Very tacky.
Yeah.
Very sticky.
That's our job for today. I have a little pond in my yard. I'm going to take all the cattail ends that we don't need, and I'm going to plant them in the mud there and hope that they grow. So we go out there, we take from the wild. In this case, we're truly taking. And instead of just saying, fine, now we'll throw the refuse in the compost, no, I'm going to go actually plant it in a place where I think it's very wet and it should grow. This is one of those very rewarding moments where I am enabled to enact out reciprocity with the plants that I've been gathering by bringing them here to this little pond that I built myself and replanting them. But not only that, when I gathered the cattail, that disturbance, the cutting, the pulling, actually causes them to shoot out new roots. It's a win-win situation. So I'm going to plant these. Good? Good. All right, grow, cattail, grow. Yeah. Reciprocity. That's the way to connect to nature. This is the good stuff. This is sphagnum moss. And even traditionally, Aboriginal cultures use this as their diapers. They would actually wrap the babies in this. It actually has healing antiseptic properties to it. And as you can see, once you start getting into it, it's deep and moist. I mean, it's the best toilet paper, but it's also good for wounds. God, it's just I love this moss, my favorite. These are horsetail. So this is all about right place, right time now. I was getting a bit worried because we are so close to more alpine type areas that it's just we're too early in the season. But what's too early for one plant is perfect for another. And if we actually were here later, it's going to become very fibrous and horrible to eat. But right now, these are the sprouts of the forest and they're delicious. So look around, gather up as many of these as you can, and pick them. Don't pull them out because you want to leave the root system, but pick them off because this is basically like the fruit. We're eating the fruit of the plant.
We're lucky, I think, just to be here at this moment to see these. This is the first.
Yeah, have a taste. Have a taste.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. The beauty of this plant is that it's abundant, not only here but around the world. So gathering it in large amounts for the plates that you might want to make is going to be a fine idea. We're not going to be hurting the environment. You may come to an area where it is just profuse with a plant that you love to pick and eat. That's fine. But be really careful how you do it, because if you start gathering with both hands and putting them into a bag, you may be gathering up poisonous plants with it. So you've got to make sure that you've identified the plant correctly and that you're only picking the one that you want. It's the time of year, elevation, soil content, moisture in the soil, everything plays a part when it comes to what you're going to find that you can actually eat depending on where you're walking, where you are. Right now at this elevation, I think Paul and I are a little bit early, and even these tips seem very young. I want to get something that's a little further along, so I think I'm going to get Paul and head down to a lower elevation. Paul! Oh, hey, Paul. Now this is where identification becomes tricky for me. I'm used to what I know in various places around the planet, and some of this area is new to me. So wood sorrel in Ontario looks a lot more like clover, actually, but if I'm recognizing this right...
I think you are right, Les.
Oh, that's good. If people have not tasted the beauty of sorrel, they need to, because wow. This is one of those flavors that's very difficult to come by in a forest like this. It's sour. I love sour. I could suck on lemons all day, and this tastes like lemon to me.
I have this growing in the garden at the restaurant, and we use it this time of year. We never cook it. We always use it fresh, as chopped up maybe a little bit, because of its citrus tang. And most people are blown away because they've never had a flavor like that before.
This doesn't look like wood sorrel in Ontario. Not even close, but it tastes the same. It's the same plant family. But out here, it looks like this. And this is why you can't just assume that if there's a plant named blank in your neighborhood that you can eat, you go across the globe or the other side of the continent or even just to a new region, and there's a plant with the very same name, that it's going to be edible. That one could be poisonous. It happens all the time. You have to actually research these things and get into the scientific names of the plants so that you know you're eating the right one. Oh, this is good. I don't think this is going to be enough to bring back to the plate, so
let's just eat it.
I'm just going to eat it.
Okay.
This is good. Let's just start here. Well, reality is I don't need to teach you what this plant is, do I?
Seen it a lot.
You know, I think the dandelion is a very much maligned wild edible. I mean, we can eat every part of it at one time or another. And that's a thing that I wanted to get you to grasp as well while we're walking around here. The growing cycle is going to be unique to where we are right now. I would bet in 48 hours we won't be able to have much of these yellow flowers. They'll start to go and go to seed. But right now, it's perfect for two things, the flower and the root. So when you harvest, you want to get right down low, and I mean really down low. I'm hoping I'm not going to break it off here. That's why I'm using my knife in this situation. I'm reaching down in, and what I want from you, as much as possible, is all the yellow tops and that root. So once again, like you did with the horsetail and like you did with the fireweed, I want you to get to know the dandelion. Really get to know it. Sit with it for a while, check out the texture. You're the one who's got to make a masterpiece of it in terms of putting it on the plate. I'm just bringing you to it, so I'll go harvest as well. Now, would you drink this?
Do you know, looking at it, I would say possibly.
I would say for sure. Here's the thing. It looks like a puddle, right? But you can see all the movement. It's ice cold. The only danger in a situation like this is that there's animal scat. So whether it's elk or moose or deer, that would be a problem. But I can see the current moving. It's flowing through all of this moss, and this makes delicious, safe water to drink. So this is a beautiful thing. So we've got milkweed, which if you follow the environmental news, you know that monarch butterflies are in peril on a worldwide basis, and of course they love milkweed. How far are we from my cottage? Maybe, I'm thinking we must have been 4 or 5 minutes to get here, right? No big deal. This milkweed is profuse here. Look, there's a caterpillar right there. So the monarch butterflies, I see them here. Classic image of them feeding, getting the nectar, and there's the caterpillars living off the milkweed. This is fantastic. I love this. There's a lot of it. It's profuse here so that we can gather from it, but we're still going to gather very selectively. So I'm not going to be able to give you a big bowl full, but it'll be enough that we can make a meal, okay? Here's what we're looking for. This guy's a great example over here. These tiny little buds here that have not opened up into flowers yet, we're going to gather these. The second part of this plant, I don't know, what's that taste like?
Actually, I was trying to control my enthusiasm. It's delicious.
Good, good. This is actually more what I'm talking about in terms of the stage that we're looking for. So for the flower buds, you see how they're a little bit tighter, younger, right? And as far as harvesting properly, you know, take one, leave one. Let's just stick with that for now. Take one, leave one. But also, while you're at it, go ahead and take these tender young top leaves. Nice, the smaller, nice tender ones are, once they get this big, then forget it. One of the things I like to do for Paul is bring him back a surprise each time, so that he's not thinking all day, how am I going to prepare this item or that ingredient? I want to sort of spring it on him. And in this case, I come right back to the milkweed plant. And I'm actually going to take him, again, through a pruning method, the flowers themselves. Now, I know that these flowers are also edible and often in the form of a fritter. So I'm going to bring back a bunch of these. The key thing here about this particular plant itself is that it's an incredibly special plant. Most people are aware this is the plant that the monarch butterfly needs to survive. The larva, the caterpillar, this is the only plant that they actually exist on as they're growing. And in fact, I can see little tiny eggs deposited by the monarch butterfly right there. The butterflies here in this field will migrate all the way down to Florida. And here's the thing, that's not one butterfly that goes down to Florida and comes back again. It's generations to get down to Florida and then come back again. So how do the ones that are born down in Florida know to come back to this field? Because they will actually come back not only to Ontario, Canada, but right to this field, which is incredibly powerful. That's why these small stands of milkweed and around railroad tracks and on the edges of gravel pits and sides of dirt roads are vital and important, because the butterflies that go down to Florida know that they want to come right back to that very field. I suppose potentially even that very plant.